Rule 1, Carly said. Do not go in the attic. I just want to look, Amber said, not sure that was true, but unable to stop her feet. Don't, Carly said. They stared at the ceiling square. Amber held her breath and listened. All she heard was the old house and the clock, and the far-off hum of a car on the street, then the smallest creak above them. A creak any house could make, or a creak a tiny foot could make as it crossed old wood. Amber reached up and touched the string. The monitor on the counter, far behind them in the kitchen, clicked once. The green lights jumped to full. The black motion sensor box beeped. Just one polite beat, like a microwave done with popcorn. Amber, Carly whispered. Please. Amber let the string fall. Okay, she said. We go back. We sit. We call again. They turn away together. The hall light buzzed, then flickered. The doll's glass eyes caught the flash in the living room and glittered like water. Back at the couch, Amber picked up her phone and saw a new message. A single red heart from an unknown number. No text. No name. That's weird, she said. Block it, Carly said. The heart disappeared as the screen dimmed and went black. They didn't talk for a full minute. They listened to the house listen to them. At 10:30, the power blinked once, twice, then held. The air felt cooler, then warmer, then still. The monitor stayed quiet. The doll stayed still. Amber felt sleep tug at her like a slow tide. Don't, Carly said gently. Stay up. I'm not sleeping. Amber lied. She woke to a sound. It wasn't loud. It was a kind of sound that goes straight into your bones. Tap, 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 like a fingernail against wood, slow and patient. Amber sat up. The room was darker than before. The clock said 11:41. Carly was awake, eyes wide, already looking toward the hall. Do you hear it? Carly whispered. Tap, tap, tap. They stood at the same time without speaking. The baby monitor's green lights climbed, slow and even, to the top. The black motion sensor glowed steady red. The tapping went on, moving from the hall to the first stair, then the second. Amber picked up the flashlight. We're fine, she said, as if words could make it true. We'll tell her we're here. She'll go back to bed. They stepped into the hall. The light buzzed once and died. The flashlight beam cut a thin path through the dark. The tapping stopped. Silence filled the house, thick and heavy. Then, from above one soft giggle, Amber raised a flashlight to the staircase. Halfway up, on the step where a person's foot might pause, sat a doll in a white dress with a blue ribbon. Strawberry blonde hair, neat and smooth. Cheeks pinked in perfect circles. The doll did not blink, but Amber felt sure it had just turned its head. Hi, Mandy, Amber said, her voice caught between brave and shaking. Your mom will be home soon. It's bedtime. The doll's head tilted. The child's voice arrived without the doll's lips moving at all. Stay, it said. Play. A second doll's hand curled around the banister, just above the first. Then another on the railing below, small fingers tapping the wood. In the flashlight beam, more shapes gathered at the top of the stairs, tiny shoes, tiny knees, tiny shadows standing shoulder to shoulder. Carly stepped back. Amber. Don't move, Amber whispered. The front door behind them clicked once like a lock testing itself. The house exhaled. From the upstairs hall, the baby monitor crackled, and the soft voice came again, sweet and close in the stairs, closer than the ceiling, as if it were right between them. Found. You. The flashlight went out. Something small patted down the step and brushed Amber's ankle. The hallway door behind them swung shut with a slam, and the deadbolt turned itself into place. In the dark, the voice was a whisper in both their ears at once, happy and bright. Your turn. And then the attic door above them began to open, inch by inch, as if pulled by a careful, patient hand. The attic door slammed shut behind Jessie with a force that rattled the entire house. She stumbled backward, the faint glow of the doll's eyes the only light in the room. For a moment, silence held her in place, then came the sound of tiny footsteps, circling her. Her breath caught. The glow from Mandy's eyes grew brighter, almost pulsing like a heartbeat. Then, In a voice that was far too old for a doll, far too human for a toy, she whispered, "Why did you wake me?" Jessie's knees nearly buckled. She tried to answer, but no words came out. All she could hear was her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. The doll's head turned slowly, creaking like wood grinding on wood. Jessie dropped the flashlight in shock, and the beam landed onto Zen Snow, hundreds of other dolls lining the attic walls. Their faces stared blankly, but Jessie swore she saw them blink. The air grew colder, her breath fogging. She turned toward the door, pulling hard, but it wouldn't open. That was when Mandy's soft giggle filled the attic. "Don't leave. We haven't played yet." Suddenly, every monitor in the house downstairs and upstairs clicked on at once. Jessie could hear distorted breathing, children's laughter, and faint whispers that all seemed to say her name. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. Shaking, she pulled it out. A message flashed across the screen, but it wasn't from a number she knew. "Mandy belongs to me. Do not anger her." Her stomach dropped. Before she could think, the attic light bulb exploded, showering glass across the floor. In the pitch dark, Jessie felt something tugging at her shoelaces, pulling hard until she tripped. She scrambled up, hands trembling, when the monitor clipped to her belt crackled to life. A child's voice, high and sweet, whispered, "Play with me, Jessie, or I'll make you stay forever." With pure adrenaline, Jessie hurled the monitor against the wall, shattering it. The attic door flung open on its own, and she bolted down the stairs two at a time. Down in the living room, her friend Mark was pacing nervously. He froze when he saw her face pale, eyes wide. "What happened?" he asked, grabbing her arm. "It's real, Mark. The doll's alive. We need to leave now." But before they could reach the front door, the locks turned by themselves one click after another. The deadbolt snapped shut, and the chain slid across. They were trapped inside. The monitors flickered again. This time, the screen showed Jessie herself, standing in the living room, even though she wasn't being filmed. Then, a second later, the picture shifted. It was Jessie lying in a coffin, eyes closed. She screamed and pulled the plug, but the monitor stayed on. The coffin image lingered. Mark tried to be brave. "It's some sick prank. Wires. A setup. That's all." But when he turned, Mandy was sitting on the couch. No one had placed her there. Her painted smile stretched wider than it should have, cracks forming along her porcelain cheeks. "Stop looking at her." Jessie whispered fiercely, pulling him away. But the more they tried to avoid the doll, the closer she seemed to appear. Each time they blinked, she moved one moment on the couch, then by the kitchen, then suddenly on the stairs. Mark snapped, "I'm not playing this game." He grabbed the doll and stormed toward the fireplace. "We're ending this now." "No, don't," Jessie screamed, but it was too late. As Mark raised the doll, the fire roared to life on its own, the flames leaping unnaturally high. He tried to throw her in, but his arms froze midair. It was like invisible hands were holding him in place. His eyes widened in terror as he whispered, "I can't move." The doll turned her head toward him. "Naughty," she whispered. Mark's body went flying across the room, smashing into the wall. He crumpled, dazed but alive. Jessie rushed to him, but the doll was already gone. The room fell silent, save for the ticking of the grandfather clock. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Then the clock struck midnight. The whole house shuddered as though something massive had awakened. From upstairs, footsteps began pounding heavy, deliberate, not like a child at all. Jessie and Mark clung to each other as the sound grew closer, echoing down the hall. Then came the voice again, but not from the doll this time. It was deeper, guttural, seeping through the walls. She must feed. The attic door creaked open by itself, and a shadow spilled out, crawling down the staircase like black smoke. Jessie's instinct screamed at her to run, but the front door was still locked tight. Mark tried the windows sealed shut, unbreakable. The shadow grew larger, forming the outline of a woman holding a child. The woman's voice trembled the walls. She froze because they left her. They laughed at her cries. They let her die in the cold. Jessie's mind raced back to the legend. Mandy, the girl who had frozen, in the church, her soul trapped in the doll. The figure stopped halfway down the stairs. The child in its arms lifted its head, and Jessie saw her face clearly for the first time. Porcelain skin cracked, hollow eyes glowing red. It was Mandy. "Stay," the child whispered. "Forever." The shadow lunged forward, the entire house shaking as the lights flickered out. Jessie screamed, clutching Mark's arm. The doll sat at the top of the stairs, head tilted, glass eyes shining in the dark. Its dress was white with a little blue ribbon. Its lips did not move, but a child's voice came from it, soft and wrong, like a whisper inside a metal can. "Stay. Play. Forever." Amber froze halfway up the steps. Her heart slammed so hard she could feel it in her throat. Behind her, Carly held a flashlight, so tight her knuckles were white. The beam shook over the doll's painted smile. Around them, the old house breathed vents humming, with ticking, the faint clink of something small rolling across the floor. "Amber," Carly whispered, "we have to go." The doll's head turned slow until both its eyes were pointed straight at them. From the upstairs hall, a baby monitor crackled even though no baby cried. A soft laugh slid through the speaker. Lights flickered. The attic door shivered on its hinges. "Stay," the voice said again, sweeter now. "Play." Then the house went dark. The flashlight stuttered out. The staircase vanished. Something small patted down the step. Tap, and brushed Amber's ankle. She swallowed, tried to speak, and felt only air. Then the voice moved so close it felt like it was inside her ear. "Found you." The next second, the hallway behind them banged shut on its own, the deadbolt turning with a loud, final click. That is where the worst night began. But the first step toward it started long before, when the doorbell rang and Amber said yes to a babysitting job she should have refused. It was Friday in a quiet American suburb. The sun was low, turning the street gold. Amber's phone buzzed as she stood with Carly on the driveway of a neat two-story house with blue shutters and a front garden full of small stone angels. A wind chime sang, even though the air hardly moved. "You sure about this?" Carly asked. She was a younger sister, but taller, with sharp eyes that noticed everything. "It's one night," Amber said. "Easy money." The woman sounded nice. The door opened before they could knock. Ms. O'Brien stood there with careful hair and careful makeup, and a soft sweater the color of new snow. Her smile was polite, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You must be Amber," she said. "And my sister," Amber said. "Carly. She'll keep me company. Is that okay?" Ms. O'Brien hesitated for half a breath, then stepped aside. "Fine. Quiet is important. Mandy needs rest." The name made Amber think of a toddler. She glanced past Ms. O'Brien, expecting toys and crayons on the floor. The house was tidy. Too tidy. The living room held a sofa, a low table, a tall cabinet. On every shelf sat dolls. Porcelain dolls, cloth dolls, old dolls with cracked faces, new dolls with eyelashes so real they looked wet. Some smiled, some frowned. All of them faced inward, looking toward the center of the room, like a circle waiting for a game to start. Carly nudged Amber's arm once. Amber pretended not to notice. "In the kitchen," Ms. O'Brien said, "there are snacks and bottled water. Do not use the stove. Do not open the back door. The alarm is set." She handed Amber an index card with neat writing in blue ink. "Do not go in the attic. Do not move the dolls. Do not leave the house. If Mandy wakes, call me. Do not enter her room. Keep the monitor on. Always. Is Mandy a light sleeper?" Amber asked, trying to sound breezy. "She is particular," Ms. O'Brien said. She walked them down the hall and pointed to a white door with a ribbon on the knob. "Her room. You won't need to go inside. What if she wants water or something?" Carly said, "She won't." The answer was simple and wrong at the same time. Amber felt like a cold line down her back. She smiled anyway and nodded. Ms. O'Brien showed them the baby monitor on the counter. It had a small screen and a row of lights. When the room was still, the lights were dark. When there was sound, the lights rose and fell in a neat green wave. Next to it was a second Devicino screen, just a black box with a tiny red motion sensor. Ms. O'Brien said, "It tells me if someone is where they shouldn't be. Do you get many visitors?" Carly asked, joking, but the joke landed flat. "I'll be back by midnight," Ms. O'Brien said, picking up her purse. "If Mandy cries, I return. If she plays, I return. If you break a rule, I return. Do you understand?" "We understand," Amber said. Ms. O'Brien walked to the front door and paused as if listening to something upstairs. After a long moment, she sighed, opened the door, and left. The house settled into a quiet that wasn't really quiet. Somewhere, a clock ticked. Somewhere, a vent rattled. The dolls watched. Amber and Carly put their bags by the couch. Carly pulled out a pack of cards. "We're not touching anything," she said. "Deal, deal." For a while, it was almost normal. They played Go Fish. They shared a soda. Amber texted to confirm the ride home. The baby monitor stayed dark. The motion sensor blinked a lazy red. The rules were strange, but harmless. The pay would help with rent. They told themselves these things until they felt true. At 9:30, the first sound came. It was small, a little scrape, like a chair moving an inch. The green lights on the monitor rose one bar, then two, then fell back to nothing. "Old houses," Amber said. "Pipes. Wood." "Sure," Carly said, staring at the green lights as if they might leap. A second sound followed, softer and closer tap. Tap, tap, like a pencil on a desk. The green lights danced higher, then higher again, then stopped. "Maybe she's awake," Amber said. "I'll call Ms. O'Brien." "Do it," Carly said. "Please do it." Amber dialed. A voicemail answered. "Leave a message." No text came back. No call returned. "Okay," Amber said, setting the phone down. "We wait." They waited. The green lights stayed quiet. The dolls seemed to lean in just a little, like they were listening too. "Hey," Carly said after a while, trying to shake off the mood. "Tell me the pizza story. The one where you..." The monitor clicked. Both girls flinched. A soft sound slid out of the speaker, like air leaving a balloon. Then a whisper, faint but clear, like a child pretending to be a ghost. "Don't leave." Amber swallowed. "Hello?" she said into the monitor, which didn't make sense, but she did it anyway. "Mandy? Do you want..." "Don't leave." The whisper again, closer now. The green lights climbed half the bar, then dropped. "Play." Carly shook her head. No, we're not doing this." "We're not," Amber said, but she was already standing. The attic door was at the end of the hall. White paint, clean trim, a string hanging down from a square in the ceiling. On the floor beneath the square was a small step stool with felt pads on the legs. Neat, ready, like someone went up there often, like someone expected someone to go up now.